30 years later.
You want one more? You want one more?
Yeah.
You want a fun fact? This
Yes.
movie probably wouldn't have existed without Chuck Norris. I have like a... I don't know. Are you? Do you want to rate yours, by the way? Do you want to rate? You have your ratings. What did you give for the Bud?
Oh my god, we're bypassing the guy that brought it.
Oh, it's all
That
right.
was an amuse
Alright,
bouche
so
for
you-
the night.
Oh god damn it. I'm just gonna freaking sob in front of these bitches over here. Like,
Stand by. Going to air.
Stand by, Phil.
Five,
Stand by music.
four,
Stand by announce.
3, 2, 1.
And fade up.
All aboard! And a name on the front is a hell of a lot more important than the one on the back.
Don't act like you're not impressed.
Turn to page 394.
How much you want to make a bet I can throw a football over the mountain?
That is so fetch.
Dodge, duck, dip, dive, and die.
The power of the sun in the palm of my hand.
Where's my super suit? Hey, fat lord, come get some dinner. I am not drinking any f***ing Merlot. And I'm gonna try to forget the fact that you're a girl. But dogs can look up. Ah, durga. You tell me what I saw this woman! This is the Polar Express!
All right. Well, welcome, everyone, to a brand new episode of 20 Years, 4 Beers. We are a podcast dedicated to rewatching movies from at least 2 decades ago, while simultaneously enjoying a minimum of 4 modern beers. My name is Steve, and this is my big brother,
Tim.
and we are coming to you from Minneapolis, Minnesota. All right. We have come to the end of our look back at the films of 2004, and as is tradition, we finish our episodes with the Best Picture Oscar winner from that year, which in this case means we will be rewatching Clint Eastwood's $1 Million Baby. Before we start, though, we typically take a few moments to discuss, and I'll try and keep it brief, a few moments to discuss any new movies or television that we have watched recently, and we have a bunch to cover.
I mean, the royal we.
Yeah. In my world, it's me.
Yeah, true.
Over the recent Christmas, New Year's holiday break, I found some extra time to just plow through some of this year's contenders.
Well, let me get my
we're-
way.
I know.
Yeah.
So we're gonna start with Tim.
Yes.
And then I also watched this show that you're talking. So go
So I
ahead.
finished season 2 of Shrinking on Apple.
Yes.
Loved it. It's just a wonderful, delightful show.
Outstanding.
Fantastic what they're doing. So cool.
Give Harrison Ford.
He's a freaking
Like,
national
what are we
treasure.
doing here, man?
He's incredible in
Like
the show.
he's never acted as good as he has. In
Correct.
this.
Absolutely. He's
Ever.
so fantastic.
Like, there's nothing you could say he's better in.
Yep, he's great.
It's awesome.
And I cede the
Yes.
rest of the time
All
to
right.
you.
So I don't know. Like, I think I'll have, if you want to ask any questions, but I saw 15 new movies that we have not talked about, and then a 16th I watched as well that we have talked about. So Tim's like, bye, I'm out. I watched I guess this is actually in order too. I watched Wicked, Amelia Perez. Do you want me to give ratings on these as I go?
Like good, bad, like eh.
Yeah, Wicked's outstanding. I don't know if you've seen it yet. Yeah. JT. Oh, by the way, we have JT, one of our somewhat regular guests
Yes.
in the background people, and then Matt, who is around. So Wicked, Matt and I saw, and it was I think it was outstanding. I think it's great.
Lives up to the hype.
And then some actually.
Nice.
And I don't particularly like the stage show, so it's really good.
Okay.
Amelia Perez on Netflix, the musical. It deserves the hate it gets, and I also think it deserves the love it gets. Like, it's one of those movies that if you love it, you're gonna love it. I have a 6.5 out of 10 though, but Zoe Saldana or whatever, she's outstanding.
Nice.
Like, she's outstanding. She could easily beat Ariana Grande for supporting actress. I think she probably will. Then I watched Conclave, which is really good. 8 out of 10. Saturday Night, the Saturday Night Live movie.
Watch that.
You'll like it better than I did.
Sure.
But I enjoyed it. Actually, I really enjoyed all these, just so we're clear. Then I watched Anora, which I gave 7 out of 10, but Mikey Madison's performance is 10 out of 10.
I hear she's great.
Then I watched Juror Number 2, speaking of Clint Eastwood.
Sure.
His, I guess we assume last movie. I actually really enjoyed it. I didn't love the ending, but it was 7.5 out of 10. Then I watched A Real Pain, Jesse Eisenberg's directorial with Kieran Culkin. Outstanding. Really loved it. Kieran Culkin's really good. Gladiator 2, Andrea and Stefan are wrong about that movie. That's a good movie. It's not great.
Sure.
It's good. 7.5 out of 10. The Order. That was actually the surprise of all of these. I really enjoyed that movie. I don't know if The Order. It's
Is that Jude Law?
Yeah, it's a Jude Law movie. It takes place in the Pacific Northwest. It's about an FBI agent who kind of stumbles across
Like a white supremacist
group in that area.
Yeah.
And it has modern day ties, even though this is in the 80s. I really enjoyed it. Very moody, really good.
Nice.
And I watched Thelma. Very different. I don't know if you've heard of this movie. It's about the old grandmother who gets money stolen from her.
No.
And so it stars June Squibb.
Okay.
Who, I don't know if you know, do you know
It's
who
not
that is?
ringing a bell.
She was the older lady in one of the. If I showed it, yeah. If you take a look at her, she was in one of the Alexander Payne films.
Oh, yeah, she was in About Schmidt.
Yeah. Thank
As
you.
The
older,
the wife.
yeah.
Yes.
June Squibb's in that, and so she gets taken for some money from like a over the phone scam.
Sure.
Pretending to be her grandson, and the cops won't help her or anything, so she steals a friend's scooter to go across town and confront the people who have taken the money. Outstanding. It's so funny. Richard Roundtree is in it, and he's really good in it.
Really?
It's his last role. Anyway, then I watched My Old Ass on... you would actually love this movie. It's a coming-of-age film on Amazon Prime with Aubrey Plaza, where the younger version of herself, this young girl goes and she gets high, and then her old version is able to talk to her.
It's like a conversation.
Yeah. And so, but then they communicate over time as well.
Okay.
It is short of Snack Shack. It's the best coming of age film of the year. Challengers was really good. Good performances. 7.5 on that one. You and I differ on Quiet Place Day One. I think I liked it better than you did. I'm not saying it's anywhere near the first two, but it's good. Transformers 1 has no place being as good as it is. And probably the best animated film of the year.
Nice.
If maybe not Inside Out 2, but yeah.
That's true.
Bad Boys Ride or Die. Also, I watched.
All the greatest hits.
There you go. That was the last of the new. And then I watched Last Stop in Yuma County again, just to remind myself how good that movie is.
Wow. Oh, good. It's a hell of a break for you.
There you go.
Nice.
I don't know what else I got.
And I'm spent.
And scene. As mentioned, we are going to rewatch $1 Million Baby. The film centers on Frankie, an old school boxing coach who was more than a bit of an asshole, who very reluctantly agrees to train an aspiring young female boxer named Maggie. Frankie enlists his longtime and really only friend, Eddie, and the two men work to make Maggie the best she can be. Soon the three form a close bond, especially Maggie and Frankie, and in true Eastwood form, the story is not exactly a Rocky-style tearjerker. The film is directed by Clint Eastwood, written by Paul Haggis, and stars Eastwood, Hilary Swank, Morgan Freeman, Jay Baruchel, somehow, Anthony Mackie, Margot Martindale, Mike Coulter, and Michael Pena.
If you guys were the inventors of Facebook, you'd have invented Facebook.
This is a social network,
You don't have to be an intellectual property expert to understand the difference between right and wrong.
where we take a look back at the critical and fan reception from 2 decades ago.
Mark!
As usual, Tim takes point on this, so take it away, Tim.
You better lawyer up, asshole, because I'm not coming back for 30%. I'm coming back for everything. $1 billion.
But
The IMDb rating is 8.1 out of 10, so very high for the film. Christopher Orr of The Atlantic said $1 Million Baby is simultaneously conventional and subversive, broad and nuanced, shamelessly manipulative and genuinely moving, a cheap sucker punch, and a work of real moral weight. David Germain of the Associated Press said, barely a year after the release of Mystic River, Eastwood delivers a second consecutive drama that fearlessly probes the shadows of human morality without falling back on easy answers. Roger Ebert, pretty easy what you can
I would
guess.
think a 4. If
4 out of
Eastwood's
4.
involved at this time, Roger's
But
probably giving 4.
Extreme praise, said $1 Million Baby is a masterpiece, pure and simple, deep and true. It tells the story of an aging fight trainer and a hillbilly girl who thinks she can be a boxer. It is narrated by a former boxer who is the trainer's best friend, and yet it is not a boxing movie. It is a movie about boxers. What else it is, all it is, how deep it goes, what emotional power it contains, I cannot suggest in this review, for I will not spoil the experience of following the story into the deepest secrets of life and death. This is Eastwood's 25th film, and not only is it the best film of this year, it is his best.
Wow,
high praise from Ebert.
I don't know about that, but
we'll see. Academy Awards that year, 7 nominations. And as we mentioned before, covering it because it won quite a bit. The 3 nominations that it didn't win were for adapted screenplay, editing, and lead actor for Eastwood. And then 4 wins were for direction by Eastwood, supporting actor by Freeman, lead actress Hilary Swank, and best picture.
Did you say adapted screenplay?
Yes.
Okay.
That's one of the 3 nominations. By Haggis.
I thought it was. Cool. Thank you. All right. Well, there we go. We are going to pause and rewatch the movie. If you are so inclined, go right ahead and watch along with us. And if not, we'll see you on the other side of this break. Here now is $1 Million Baby.
You're not breathing right. That's why you're panting. So it's your birthday, huh? How old does that make you?
I'm 32, Mr. Dunn. And I'm here celebrating the fact that I spent another year scraping dishes and waitressing, which is what I've been doing since 13. And according to you, I'll be 37 before I can even throw a decent punch. Which, after working the speed bag for a month, getting nowhere, I now realize may be God's simple truth. Other truth is, my brother's in prison. My sister cheats on welfare by pretending one of her babies is still alive. My dad is dead, and my mama weighs 312 pounds. If I was thinking straight, I'd go back home, find a used trailer, buy a deep fryer and some Oreos. The problem is, this is the only thing I ever felt good doing. If I'm too old for this, then I got nothing. That enough truth to suit you?
This your speed bag?
But yours behind the counter. Wish I could say I wore it out.
Just hold it. Hold it. I'll show you a few things, and then we'll get you a trainer.
No. Sorry.
You're in a position to negotiate?
Yes, sir. Because I know if you train me right, I'm going to be a champ. I seen you looking at me.
Yeah, out of pity.
Don't you say that. Don't you say that if it ain't true. I want a trainer. I don't want charity, and I don't want favors. If you're not interested, then I got more celebrating to do.
Stop. God damn it, stop. The hell are you doing? Okay. If I'm going to take you on...
You won't never regret it.
Look, just listen to me. If I take you on...
I promise I'll work so hard.
God, this is a mistake already.
I'm listening, boss.
If I take you on, you don't say anything. You don't question me. You don't ask why. You don't say anything except maybe, yes, Frankie. And I'm going to try to forget the fact that you're a girl.
That's all I ask.
And don't come crying to me if you get hurt.
We begin our discussion with our reaction segment that we call Spotlight.
This is Boston, and the church does not want them to be found. So, they are not there.
This is where we highlight and discuss our top takeaways of any kind from rewatching our subject film.
We've got 2 stories here. We've got a story about degenerate clergy, and we've got a story about a bunch of lawyers turning child abuse into a cottage industry.
If there were 90 of these bastards, people would know.
Maybe they do.
This is Spotlight.
They knew, and they let it happen.
Wing it.
I don't know. I mean, it's not about winging it. It's more just about, I guess we're recording. So, yeah. Here we go.
Uncut edition.
Yeah, exactly. All right, well, welcome back to 20 Years, 4 Beers, where we have just finished rewatching $1 Million Baby. and also have had 4 new beers that we will review. Well, like 6 new beers.
Yeah.
That we'll review in a segment coming up. But first, we talk about our immediate reactions in this Spotlight segment. I just want to point out, substantially more sober this year than we were last year.
For those paying attention at home, a little bit of a brief recap.
Yes,
when we finished the extended edition of Return of the King, and I looked at Steve, and I instantly thought, oh shit.
Yeah.
I'm going to have to carry this. Because I think my favorite part last year when you were like, I mean, I don't even know what to say about that.
Yeah.
And in my head, I'm like, it's literally a podcast where we talk about these things. So not a great start.
My favorite part was,
I don't know what to say about these things.
My favorite part was I completely forgot that we had done the verdict.
Yes. Let's do it again.
Let's do it again.
From the top. From the top.
Yeah. It is.
I remember like, and I was pretty like,
yeah.
It was, I was like, oh.
Yeah. So, well, we had done like 6 double IPAs or whatever.
Yeah,
it was heavy. So
then the opposite end of that is, hey, a
it
year
helps
later,
to split.
let's watch a incredible
for 2
downer of a
hours and not
film
4 hours
with JT and Matt in the room, and then talk about this. So
do you want to talk about your reactions, Matt? Do you want to wait a little bit? What do you want to do?
I'm fine talking about it now.
Cool. Nobody can hear you. You're literally nowhere near a microphone.
Here, let me help you over here.
I would say probably.
Don't ruin it for people.
Well, no, it's just
Spoiler: it's Rocky.
No, it's just It's a great story. I love the feeling of like when I'm able to watch a movie and I'm able to feel a roller coaster of emotions. It makes me feel like, oh yeah, that movie got me for 2.5 hours.
Yep.
And I think I'm glad I got invited to come tonight because that was a good movie that like I'll be like, hey, let's rewatch $1 Million Baby.
Nope.
Well, I like.
This is not like rewatching Rocky, there, dude. This is not like.
Well, that's true. I'm glad you mentioned that. It is.
Yeah.
It's a movie that does tap into a lot of emotions, but from a rewatchability standpoint, it is like the rare film of I'm so happy to have watched it before.
Yeah.
I'm so happy to have watched it now.
Yep.
And I don't know that I need to watch it again.
No, I agree.
For quite some time.
No,
so
I agree. Yep. Do you want to chime in, JT, at all, or just leave it at that?
He's like, I'm just here for the beer. No.
You can talk normal. It'll catch you if you really want to.
No, I mean, I do want to... I guess I would be curious on the rewatchability because I feel like there are times you do want to tap into emotions that don't come out except for these deeper films.
A crime movie. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've talked in episodes past about, Green Mile, certainly, or like,
for me, or
any person with a soul.
No, but for you, that is your like cry movie.
Sure.
Like
yes.
if I want a good cry, I'm like, I'm not watching Green Mile.
It's more of like a 3-hour like juggernaut.
Yeah.
And yes, Whale Rider was one that we watched that was the same thing of like, oh my
Life
God,
is a
just
House. Yep.
like Life is a House. This is definitely one of those.
The cry movie.
Add this to that list of, and again, teaser for the usual theme for Tim, watching a movie before having kids and then watching it after.
Yeah, you do.
A movie centered around.
It's sad for sure, but it really hits with the kids.
A movie is centered around a estranged father who begrudgingly takes on a young woman to teach her for this, who's struggling with her own family issues, and then they bond, and all the stuff that happens, it's like, oh, I remember watching this before, enjoyed it, but then seeing it now, even starting, I was like, oh, God damn it. I'm just going to freaking sob in front of these bitches over here. Like, and yes, spoiler, it happened. So, yes, it's, we can talk about the specifics.
Yeah, what do you got, Tim? What are your thoughts on it?
I really appreciate the movie where, not having watched it in probably close to 20 years, we've talked about it in different episodes where I really respect a movie that just has an appreciation for the audience to be like, you're an adult, you came to a film like this, pay attention, we're going to take our time to tell it. 35 minutes it takes for him to take her on as a trainer. Only know that
Central
because
crux. Yeah.
we paused it.
Yeah,
Another beer.
It was a beer pause. Yeah.
Yes.
Beer pause.
Beer pause. But it was like, this is a difference in kind where it's not just going to throw you into it and start right there. Like, it's building the world. And so I really am impressed with Eastwood and to Haggis' credit as our screenwriter, but we're going to take the time and dedication to just build these tiny bits. So then when it does happen, it doesn't feel like it's just forced for the sake of a narrative or you're here for a movie. It's like these pieces and he's fighting it for so long, no pun intended, but doesn't want to do it. And when he does, it's just a shift in the movie, but it adds to that element. I appreciate, again, 35 minutes. We're going to ask the audience to just patiently wait for us to get to the big, what we've been waiting for to happen.
Yeah, it's called developing a story. Isn't that crazy how that works?
Exactly.
In film?
No like teaser, no like boom.
This is what cracks me up whenever I talk to people about good movies, great versus great movies. It's like a good movie is an enjoyable film that you sort of like, oh, it's fun, it's good. But like a great, memorable movie, like every memorable movie that still is around 40, 50, 20, whatever years later, takes its damn time to tell a story.
Yeah.
It layers the characters, it introduces you to people. Like, so every time we come to the end of the year, we're always talking about Oscars and things like that. Usually at the end of the year, we don't always talk about some of the best movies of the year.
Yeah.
We kind of like backload them into the year. But it's like, yeah, it takes the time to develop a story. Tell me, introduce my characters. How are they connected? Are they connected initially? Do they love each other? Are they, whatever it is, it's like, sometimes a great movie can get you there really quick and then tell a story along the way.
Yep.
It's rare though. Like most great movies do exactly what this movie does. And so you mentioned Haggis. I think Haggis deserves a lot of credit here.
Yeah.
Take your time to tell me a story. And yeah, it just layers, because then by the time you end up, he takes her on as a boxer, it's believable.
Yes.
Because he's lost his boxing. He's lost the champion boxer. He's got nothing. It's not just he's bored. Like he's responding to this. His daughter is abandoned him, basically.
Yes.
It makes no sense and has no emotional heft if you do that in the first 10 minutes. So
exactly.
Yeah, it's telling a story. But God forbid we ask the audience to just pay attention for 2 hours.
But think about, like, we've covered, Gladiator.
Well, I was gonna say, like, for somebody who struggles with like ADHD and like wanting to like wait for good parts of the movie, I feel like
you want to get to the good parts.
Get to the good part super quick. I feel like with this, it let it play out. It let the key parts of the plot go up and up and up as it goes, and that's something that I enjoyed about this movie.
You're saying with Gladiator?
Well, I appreciate that, because it's like, this is gonna sound odd, but it's like, yeah, I mean, most things we're used to now are like, grab the audience, hook them in, and then we're gonna maybe take a step back, and then we'll get to the point where we just told you this.
Start with a
like
big
attention grabber, boom.
Yeah, Twisters from this year,
5 years ago or whatever kind of crap. Which is, it's great for those kind of stories.
They serve their purpose, and those are good films that are remembered for sure.
Sure,
but great films take their time to tell me a story.
But you think about what we've covered in the podcast: it's Gladiator, A Beautiful Mind, Chicago, Return of the King.
One of the all but one of those is a good movie.
All of them, I think, have some type of larger than life, fantastical element to it, like the spectacle. And Beautiful Mind, it's kind of shit on because it's not that great. But everything prior to this, and I remember thinking, appreciating movies as we started to do more like in our like early 20s. This felt like a difference to me, thinking through like, a Best Picture winner.
Yeah.
Like I think back to like a Braveheart type of situation, or back in the mid 90s where it felt like the late 90s into early 2000s, like you think of Titanic and the spectacle, these kind of things. This felt like a return to that type of granular small story that this, to its credit, again, it's patient, but it didn't rely on like huge story pieces or elements. It's just, it's not boring. It's just a slow movie. And to its credit, it really just respects an audience to get connected to these characters and asks you to go along for this ride. And what stuck out to me, and I made a note, was like, a lesser film would have scrapped the entire sock scene.
Yeah.
In the sense of, It doesn't do anything
right
to move the story forward, but it adds the connection. So those people that have never seen it, it's just a conversation between Eastwood's character and Freeman's character about his socks and him sitting there. But what it adds to the piece of they've been together so long and the connection, like it felt just real people talking about real things. Sure. And that's where I think this movie, we saw it back in the day, and it was like, this is going to win Best Picture.
Yeah.
I mean, 2004 overall
yeah, not
sucked.
a great year. Yeah, yep.
But even still, you can see when you're, I mean, I think when I watched American Beauty, I was like, this is going to win Best Picture. Like,
yeah, you kind of knew.
I'm watching this happen right now. Nothing else is going to come close to this.
Yeah, and this was released late in the year, just in time for the Oscars.
Yeah,
and
like
then
end of like last week of the year type of thing.
Popular right at the time of the Oscars, so it just felt like,
Yes.
Yeah.
And so that was, but I remember watching here, I was like, I guess, like I said, a lesser movie would have cut that scene because it's like, it doesn't, it's time wise or whatever it is, but no, like all these tiny moments, or we're going to have this story with this dumbass boxer that comes in, this stupid kid, you know, that they're like, he's looking through a thing of water bottle or whatever, and it doesn't pay off until the end of the movie. And you're like, oh God, this little kid. It's just a really well done script. I think it's earned the Oscar nomination, but this is like the one that I think, it made sense as one Best Picture.
Yeah, I agree.
My view.
I mean, yeah, I think from a script standpoint too, the purposeful foreshadowing throughout the whole movie. You've got
Jesus,
at one point he says like the neck can only twist so far.
Yep.
And then there's a consistent focus on how common the stool placement is. Like right as the bell hits, the stool comes out
over and
whether
over.
it be in the right, you know. And then he says like that girl was doing the bad boxer was doing things like didn't think it would kill a person.
Yep.
You know, and you're just kind of like, hello, foreshadowing.
Yes.
And then when it comes out to that this is a letter to the daughter, I guess you kind of assume maybe she knows some of the story. I don't know. I mean, you don't know if she knows any of the story or not.
Sure.
But it's sort of, I don't know. It's the script. The script is really well done, not only from a building character standpoint, but from foreshadowing that is not blatant. Like, you know, later this year we'll talk about Kiss Kiss Bang Bang, and they joke about where the end of the movie is. You know, they like blatantly talk about it. Like, oh, that won't come up later in the movie. Like often, foreshadowing in screenplays is just like, oh,
wink, wink to the audience.
Yep, here it is. You do not have an understanding.
No,
because all of those things are just normal everyday things. So when he says like, "Don't come crying to me if you get hurt." Yeah,
I think it's that clip before.
Oh,
yeah. And you know when he's like, or she asks, I forget the exact scene, but she's like, you know, are you going to leave me? He's like, never.
And
it's these things that build up where, you know, what works for it and why it's earned. And so again, to spoil.
Go ahead. Yeah.
When she gets knocked out and breaks her neck, there's no, like I said, there's no way you can see that coming. No, it's going to be this huge shift because it feels like it's not bad, but it feels like this movie is a nice retread of the typical kind of up and coming, chasing your dreams.
Right.
Let's see what I can accomplish. And I mean, I remember in the theater, people gasped when it happened because it was so unforeseen. And yet, as you watch it again, you're like, oh yeah, they're planting these seeds for what might impact you emotionally. And what I love is why it's earned is her story about what she's come from. And, you know, when she's like, yeah, that I have nothing. If I go back to this life, I've got nothing. Mm-hmm. And so when she is able to climb and accomplish these things, when it all has to go away, like it does, it doesn't feel forced where it's like, oh, well, this is going to be some kind of sad story. It's heartbreaking and awful to watch. Yeah, I was sobbing about it because it's just terrible. But it is all earned, you know, when she's like, always protect myself, and it doesn't happen. You know, he's like, I'll be right here. When when her face gets busted up the first time, he leaves, or she goes to get her face fixed, is in the waiting room. He's like, I'll be right here. It's all these things of foreshadowing, but like you said, you have no idea what's coming until it does.
Yeah.
And so I think a credit to the writing, but also just again, the patience of the story. And yes, I think it's really essential, the estranged daughter storyline.
Yeah, I mean,
because you're like watching it, be like,
everything.
how like his letters are getting sent out, and then what is it going to mean? And his continuous effort. Clearly, he's got these shoe boxes of all the letters coming back, and what it means for Frank. What I love about the idea that Frank is so averse to putting yourself out there,
right?
He's so like, no, the next fight, because he's so worried about it. But yet, unbeknownst to everybody else, he is working his ass off to keep on writing his daughter. And that type of like, earned, again, emotional weight makes sense when this woman comes into the gym and he's like, I'm not going to fight. I'm not going to train her and all these things. And so I just love, again, lots of things we'll talk about, but it's just a perfect storytelling device.
Yep.
Where it builds up and builds up. So when it becomes so tragic and she asks him to do what he wants to, what she wants him to do, his reaction is justified, but you can tell it's going to, he's going to do it.
Yeah.
And that's what's really great about it. I mean, like the storytelling device of like her telling us the story about the dog, where the dad had to put the dog out of its misery type of thing. You're not thinking about it as you're watching
even like the relationship with the priest. You're kind of like, okay, this is
what's
this
the
weird
thing?
Little aside, and then it comes into play at the end.
Yes.
I mean, it without it being
preachy.
Forced. Yeah, no, it's like kind of when you talk about with the ending, the gut punch is what separates this, I think, from other films. I think that's what really, because I think everyone, especially at the time, to your point about the gasping, and like everyone assumed this would be like a Rocky-esque, like win, or like maybe you lose the championship or whatever, but you kind of feel like there's a life lesson in this.
Yes.
You sort of feel like that's just for girls, but then it's just like, nope, gut punch, and then it completely shifts this to a memorable movie.
Yes.
Like it
elevates
what moves
it.
Because I remember thinking, I don't want to watch this again because I don't want to watch. I remember thinking it was like in my brain, I thought it was the last 10 minutes,
right,
that this happened, and then the movie was over, and I'm like, nope, there's like 40 minutes left when this happens, and it really shifts into a drama more than like a sports drama.
Correct.
That shift, that twist is what I think is why we're talking about this now. I mean, yes, Best Picture, but really talking about it in the glowing fashion I think you have is because of that. Because
for me, yes, it elevates the material where it's not just, oh, something tragic happens and then she's wanting to die. Yeah. You can see her when she's in her, I would say, vegetative state, or at least paralyzed state, doing her best to adapt to that new world. And then the degradations that occur for her of like the bed sores and like you're going to lose a leg. And then we're in her fucking family.
Ugh.
Sorry, it comes in.
I know.
And it's just like that story device is fantastic because it doesn't work if she doesn't come from that environment, or at least, sorry, it doesn't work if she's just talking about it.
Right.
What makes the material work is when she is sending money back. And then she goes and buys her mom a house. And everything she is trying to do to better her life is seen as a bad thing by these awful people. And then just how terrible they are to her. And then when she is at her most low, like she is clearly been like devastated by this tragedy. And they're just trying to grift off her and capitalize on that.
Yeah.
There's something about that scene that is just heartbreaking, but also you can see it become this catalyst where she's like, I'm not doing this anymore. And so what's amazing, I think, why the movie is not just elevated because of the shift, but her whole thing has been like, I'm overcoming my circumstances and working hard. And when I put myself out there, tried, and something horrible happened, I'm not going to let this define me either.
Right.
And so that's, I think, a testament to the writing, to Hilary Swank, everything about it, where it is, when she asks him to do it, and then as he grapples with it, what's great is she continues to fight to do it to herself.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, it's not just like, I will rely on you to do this to me.
Yeah.
I'm going to, like, if you can't do it, I will do it.
Yeah, I'm doing it.
And that's where I think it makes it so much more powerful and earned, where, you know, I don't know. It's not like he's forced to do it, but I think if it was something where he just did it right away, or who knows what, like, he clearly knows, like, if I don't do this, she's going to continue to do this to herself.
Right.
So I need to put her out of her misery.
Well, and I want to take it one step further, as saying, so he's Catholic, and he would obviously believe, Catholics believe that suicide sends you to hell.
Yep.
So now he has this person who he loves, and is actually like, she's now choosing to go, but now he's actually sacrificing in it from a Catholic perspective. He's actually sacrificing himself.
I will be lost instead of her being
instead
lost.
of her. So it's and that's right. It's like, you're welcome, Tim.
God, just fuck you, man. I didn't even think about that. Here I am, like,
God.
God.
Come at it from a Catholic perspective. Like, this is what he's grappling with. He's not grappling with losing her exactly. He's also grappling with sacrificing his, in his mind, everlasting soul.
God,
because she would, that, you know, and so it's just kind of like, yeah, there is some extra depth to this when you bring it, like, from a religion standpoint too.
Yeah.
And I want to pivot over to the performances then, because you mentioned
I think
Swank,
I've talked
and
through,
then
like, the story stuff
from Eastwood.
Yes.
Swank does a great job. Don't get me wrong, and she deserved the Oscar. I'm not gonna argue for anyone else.
She's really good.
She's really good in this, and especially when she actually is in the bed.
Yes.
With the gasping of breath and the losing,
like,
and
her
only having
her fragility is
only having so much breath to speak. I underestimated or underremembered how good Clint Eastwood is in this movie.
Yes.
Like we talked about before, JT mentioned it. He's kind of played the same character. You feel like he's always, he has this like idea, because I just watched Unforgiven recently, and you kind of think like, that's him, right? That's
I'm a grizzly old man.
Right, yeah. And he is kind of for the first half of it. Yeah, exactly. And he is kind of for the first half, for sure. But man, when he starts to really connect with her, and then in the last 45 minutes, like, that's where he is really, I don't recall a single movie where he was believable from an emotion standpoint.
Yes.
Right? Like,
yes.
I don't remember him crying ever. I mean, like, just,
no.
So, in my opinion, Eastwood is what stands out about this movie the most. As good as Swank is, and she is very good. When he's sitting there grappling, speaking of the faith-based side, when he's sitting there with this priest grappling with what he has to do,
yes,
you can just see it in his face. Not as a father or not, but just as a person to watch her go through this. He's all three of them are outstanding. Everyone's good. All three of them are outstanding. Don't get me wrong, but Eastwood to me stands out the most.
It was surprising watching that. I totally agree. Like, Morgan Freeman is Morgan Freeman, so.
Yeah, and he's great in this.
And you can, but like, I like he's narrating it, but oddly enough, having watched Shawshank again this year, talking about it, you know, his gravelly, like, really grizzled voice really works well, and you can see them being friends for so long. So yeah, Freeman deserves the Oscar
nomination. Yeah, or do you win?
Yeah,
he won for this.
Yeah,
that's right.
So he's great, and Swank is so great. She carries this in so many ways of, like, being that vulnerable but really fire strong, like, start to it, and as she builds this, and then when it all goes sideways, she's just heartbreaking. And moments of levity too, like humor in the dark side of these character elements is great. But yeah, completely surprised by Eastwood, where he has never stood out to me from, like, an emotive standpoint.
No, he was nominated for actor for Unforgiven, and after watching it, I was like, for what?
Yeah. And this year, you know, obviously Jamie Foxx won because of how great he was.
Yeah.
For Ray.
Yeah.
Somewhat a very strong imitation of a well-known individual, which is not to deter it or, like, detract from the accomplishment. But dear God, he's so good in this.
Yep.
As the, you know, the layers he's built up to protect himself of, like, I'm just a hard-ass, like, fighter, as then he starts to build this paternalistic connection with her, and then yes, him grappling with what will this be like after the fact, and like when the family's there and he's trying to be protective,
like
but
a
then have to
loose
leave.
term.
Sure, exactly. Simply by blood.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's really good.
Yep.
Really, really good. So yeah, those two stood out for me. I took notes on them that they were
And their connection
fantastic.
developed really well throughout
Yes.
too.
It wasn't forced.
Yep.
It was very slow. And I also want to call out Eastwood's direction. Like he clearly, I think, deserved the Oscar. But
I agree. Yeah.
Watching the scene in the diner when Freeman is talking with Swank's character, a lesser director would have had it from the front to see their faces the entire time. But it slowly pans in over their shoulder. And it's like this conspiratorial, she's hearing for the first time, like the story about him losing the eye.
Got it. Yeah.
And then they're connecting in this kind of bonding way. It would have been an acting showpiece for a lesser director to be like, just gonna have it from the front, but having it zoom in slowly from the side and the back, and then juxtaposed with the front coming back. His direction is fantastic in this. Like patient, the fight sequences are great.
Yeah.
Everything around it. Yeah, I think clearly that's why he deserved, I think, the Oscar for this. But
yeah, I mean, I guess we'll talk about that in the next episode.
Well, it wasn't unearned. We're like, really, this guy was a director? Like, yes.
No, I agree. So I actually only have a couple more points. I have a somewhat, and seriously, just a minor quibble. That's it's not big, and that's not a perfect film. And I just kind of wish that at the end when they fade to the diner, that it would have like the name would have changed. Like he would have changed it to Maggie's or like some sort of like. Because it fades there, we assume he's there eating some lemon meringue or whatever.
Yep.
But my assumption is that's where like he bought that diner or something like that. And I kind of was like, oh, that would have been an interesting little, tidbit at the end.
Yeah.
He did say at the point that he wondered if that diner was for sale.
So I'm saying, yeah, it was just kind of like, oh, maybe, that could have been an interesting little
Maggie's Diner.
I don't know.
I like that.
It's the closest thing I can get to a quibble
right?
about this movie.
It's a fantastic film.
Yeah.
It's just beautiful.
Yeah, I remember when, and I'm not comparing these two, but I remember when we saw King's Speech in some of those movies where you walk out and you're just like, that's a movie.
When that movie ended, we looked at it like no,
that's a movie.
That's a movie.
That's how you make a movie. Social Network, which is, I mean, that's above probably both these films for both of us.
Yes,
but
still,
it
that's
is
a movie.
Yeah, that you just go, that's how you make a movie.
Yeah.
I have 2 more points. What do you got?
I have nothing.
So the only thing I will say is one thing from a boxing movie fan, and we'll talk about that with Cinderella Man, and we've talked about Rocky a couple times, does a great job of avoiding all boxing movie cliches.
Yep.
There's none. The only thing it's got is a montage, because everything has a montage. Even dramas have a montage, doesn't matter.
Yes.
There is not a single boxing cliche in this movie.
Well,
and it's about boxers, right? That's what Ebert says. So, like, it was about
it's a
boxers,
story
not
about
boxing,
boxers.
right? What?
There's no like overpowering like, oh, I know that song because it's so popular in that montage. It's just an orchestra.
Yeah, it's just got
song,
music in the background.
and
Yep, good point.
That's why it's not like an actual.
It resonates.
It's a boxing movie, but not really a boxing movie.
Right, it's about boxers.
And to that end, like, again, montage aside, what really works for the film is the way they tell the passage of time. Where what I didn't remember the first time, but what struck me was him trying to learn Gaelic at the beginning.
Right.
And then at the end, he's speaking it fluently with her.
Mm-hmm.
And that was like, oh, I didn't even think about that. Like a year and a half
years,
or whatever.
okay. Yep.
And so that, I think, speaks to the bond that these two characters build, where it isn't, I mean, it's a 2-hour movie kind of thing, but is a year and a half in their life, day to day, being together, what they're working on together. It's so earned. Or like the birthday things where she's almost going to be 32 and then she has a birthday and then he's having a birthday at 33. And so it's to that end, yes, what they do to really patiently tell the like passage of time that the bonding is earned, that kind of thing. But I agree. The cliches, like there's no massive thing. Like even the wounds that they have going on, like when he has to fix her broken nose, you're like, oh God, that's not great. But
like,
it works.
Like she didn't win the belt. Like usually you think of like a boxing movies, you think the main character is gonna
Or they lose, like Rocky 1, he loses.
Yeah, Rocky 1.
Spoiler alert.
But
Yeah.
I mean,
What?
Yeah. Exactly.
I thought he just got Adrian. Shit.
no, it's
Got
just like
yeah. Got her pregnant.
They don't just force like a big win on her.
Right.
They show her keep going and keep going and keep going and keep fighting for it.
And I like to that end, like the fact of, Frank's struggling to find competitors because she's so good.
Yeah, yeah.
Where she's knocking them out in the first round. Like, this isn't just like, again, like from a cliche standpoint, it's like, no, when she gets in there, she's fantastic and she'll lay waste to you. So,
last thing I'll say is somehow this movie had not even begun filming by July of 2004.
That's insane.
Wow.
And yet they were able to
That's
film
insane.
it, edit it, do what they needed to, release it in time for Oscars. And then it won
In
Best
like
Picture,
a 6 month period.
A 6 month period. And it was in the top 5 for about 3 months. It was very popular. Like it was a Best Picture winner that was actually pretty popular at the time. So
isn't that Eastwood's like he's
MO?
Very efficient. He's always on budget.
Like
his
I'm
films are always well run.
Yes. But to that end, I mean, just think about, he's notorious for being extremely efficient and like, we have a plan, we'll get through it. But I had no idea, like the fact of we're going to film a movie, produce it, cut it, all these things, market it, and have it out in time in a 6 month window is insane.
Yeah.
Wow.
I'm going up there, I'm going to try it, I'm going to let the jury decide.
As we close out our Spotlight segment, we come to our final takes called The Verdict.
If we are to have faith and justice, we need only to believe in ourselves.
This is where Tim and I give our final verdicts after rewatching the film and decide whether or not the movie held up over the course of 2 decades.
Now you get out of here before I call the bailiff and have you thrown in jail.
This is The Verdict.
I said to hell with it, to hell with it.
I really struggled with a verdict because I was not watching or I'm not taking notes. So,
do you want to ramble through one?
Yeah, I'm just going to extemporaneously figure it out. A beautiful, profound film about struggling towards your dreams and then grappling with the aftermath when tragedy destroys those. But what results from the bonds and the connections you make along the way. And again, any movie with a father-daughter dynamic, sign me up. I am a sucker for that. Standout performance from Swank. Again, she seems to win her Oscars in the best circumstances for that. And
2 for 2.
A ridiculously good performance from Eastwood. Overall patient direction. Not a feel good, but not a feel bad.
No, there's plenty of humor throughout. Yeah.
It's like a feel okay.
Yeah.
But it just like, no pun intended.
It's a feel.
Pun intended, knocks you for a loop. I'd say 4.5 out of 5 for me. I'm glad we watched it again.
Yep. So my verdict is that $1 Million Baby has somehow found a way into the realm of the Forrest Gump or Braveheart or Titanic.
Yeah.
Not necessarily in their scope, but in the way that somehow time has allowed the Best Picture winner to be overlooked in just how good it actually is.
True.
$1 Million Baby deserved all of the praise it's garnered, and after 20 years, it may even deserve greater admiration. With a career best performance and direction from Eastwood and top performances from Freeman and Swank, plus a very tight screenplay from Haggis, I think $1 Million Baby is an outstanding film, holds up and then some. Not a rewatchable film.
No.
Hard to do that. Hard to recommend, like, you know what I'm going to do next week? Watch this again. Yeah. You know, but I have 4.5 out of 5 as well. So.
Nice.
Come on, not my beer.
With our reactions and verdicts to the movie out of the way, we move on to the reactions to our beers that we drank while rewatching our subject movie.
And if you want to have sex with a disgusting bad brewer with a terrible attitude,
this is where we take a look back at our beers and give our expert ratings for our drinking buddies.
Ugh, whatever. Hey, here's the truth.
This is Drinking Buddies.
Let's get weird.
We started, shout out to our pal JT, who
saving Tim some money. There you go.
Well, I know about the beer. Like, no, I mean, like.
Oh, okay. Yeah, sorry. Yeah.
That's for the next episode.
There's plenty of beer.
Because I didn't do any theme shit for this. But when we say understand the assignment.
Yeah, JT. Well
and
done.
then JT says, oh no, I'm going to drop my balls on that.
Yeah.
And we're going to knock it
I'm
out of the park.
teabag it to
Holy
town.
cow. The first one, considering Maggie comes from the lovely state of Missouri.
Is it lovely?
Don't besmirch Missouri.
beautiful. I don't know about
yeah,
lovely.
I'm sure it's fine.
Yeah.
Every region has pockets to it.
It's the Brainerd of America.
Ooh, let's pump the brakes on that.
Yeah, that's right. That's true.
I
That's
can neither
New Orleans.
confirm nor
That's
deny
New
reports.
Orleans. Yeah.
The first beer we haven't had this before, out of St. Louis, Missouri. The king of beers, Budweiser. Man, I got to say, I did not expect that we would be pounding down a little bit of Budweiser tonight. 3.75 for me. I don't know that I ever seek this out, and it's like kind of like,
Classic
But-
American beer.
Man,
Yeah.
it was good. It was really tasty
It's
to
not
start.
the worst beer of the night. I have 3.5 out of 5 as well, and I think Bud's a good, solid, like just cheap beer option. It's good.
It's good.
I have 3.5 out of 5. Let's keep
Not
it.
the worst beer
We're not
of the
gonna-
night.
Nope, you're holding it right
Wow.
now.
Really?
Yep.
Okay, so as a person does when they're aspiring for greater things, again, he hit out of the park with all the theme options. Dual City, sorry, let me move my thumb.
Yeah.
Dual Citizen, sorry, I was blocking out of it. Samsonite. Dreaming IPA. I like this one, actually. It's a Pacific Northwest, oddly specific region. India Pale Ale option. I had a 3.5. So a little bit like
Sure.
rank less than Budweiser, but like for the style, it's good. I enjoyed it though. It's not bad.
I have like a. I don't know. Are you? Do you want to rate yours? By the way, do you want to rate? You have your ratings. What did you give for the Bud?
Oh my god, we're bypassing the guy that brought it.
Oh, sorry.
That was an amuse
Alright.
bouche
So
for
you-
the night.
Yeah. Amuse bouche.
Just a light palate.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
So
Start
what do you
the
got-
night
what
off
do you got
right.
for the dual
Yeah, what you got for dual
I
citizen?
gave it 3.25. I
Yeah,
thought it
same.
It was good, not great. You love this. The
Go ahead.
nose.
The nose. It smelled
was
good.
good.
Yes.
Like pineapple.
Yep.
But it kind of was bitter.
There was a weird flavor to mine too.
Yeah.
Like a tinny or some sort of weird after, and I was like, I'm glad we only had a third of it.
Right.
Like I was like, I could have had that whole Bud and been just fine. But no, I had 3.25 as well. It's and I mean it's a bad beer. It's not a bad beer, but to me it was the worst beer of the night. So what's next, Tim?
And then we had again on point with
This is honestly dark humor, one of the best.
Yes.
Sorry, Tim. This is like one of the best. Wait, no.
Oh.
No.
No.
It was third, dude.
Well, no, it wasn't. But thank you. We had Firestone
I
out
forgot
of
this
California.
beer. I gotta rate this.
I will talk slowly.
No, go ahead.
While
You're
you
fine.
can rate
It's
it.
hard. Yeah, it's hard to.
The Mind Haze Hazy Imperial IPA, referred to as their brain melter.
There you go.
Yikes.
Also, pretty good dark humor. So, yeah.
Well done. I had a 4. It was nice. It had like a nice hoppy profile to me, and it was like you could tell it was an Imperial IPA. I was like, ooh, a little bite to it. I liked it. It was good.
Go ahead, Doug.
I also had a 4. Juicy. Again, bite right at the very end. It was good.
Yeah, it was especially for like a mass-produced one.
Yeah,
I'm
I think I had 3.75. I probably would go 4 on the mass-produced side. You know, but it was good. It was especially coming from that dual citizen. I was like, that's much better.
That's good. Yeah. And then from Distill Brewing out of Normal, Illinois, their Deadhead IPA. Well played. West Coast style IPA.
Just the best.
It's just like, that's really
What
good.
happens at the end of this? Just Deadhead.
Great
Perfect.
theme.
See,
I know.
was going with the boxing brain damage trope.
Yes.
Not realizing that she was really fully
Deadhead.
She was paralyzed, but she was.
Yeah, I guess she was dead
mentally,
body,
she was
right?
there.
Yeah.
Maybe if this was dead body beer. Yeah, but still. Yeah.
I like this one. It's a 4.25 for me. It's a very nice, solid option. I like that West Coast bite to it. So yeah, I liked it.
I also had a 4.25.
Look at you guys.
I thought it was really good, well balanced, crisp, good flavor. Yeah.
Yeah, I had a 4. It's a solid. I mean, and probably because recently I had Distill Brewing on other beers from them that I liked a lot better than it. But yeah, it's good.
And then full circle, bringing it back to the lovely state of Missouri.
Right back.
I hear it's really fantastic. Four Hands Brewing Company, their Bramble Prussia, which, as we talked about, the woman that does knock her out is from Germany, which back in the day was, I guess, East Germany?
North. It's like, yeah.
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 Close enough to Prussia.
Northern, yeah.
Again, we work ourselves back into this just fine.
Yeah, Tim has no problem with the pretzel. Oh, next theme.
It was great.
There you go.
No. There's sour, Bramble Prussia sour ale with blackberries. It was really good. It smells like really, really strong. I like it. I had a 4.25 for me.
I had a 4. It was light, almost effervescent.
Ooh.
Very drinkable. But not very sour.
No.
Yeah.
That's what dropped for me. I got to 3.75 because as I was drinking, I was like, "There's nothing to this about sour." Just kind of like
it's not too tart.
It lost its. Initially, it was good, and then it like just lost it for me over. And we were sharing it.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like. So I went 3.75. Still enjoyable. Yeah.
And then for the sake of, hey, we got ourselves a bit of time. I know. Falling Knife out of Minneapolis. Their Big Riff chocolate-covered peanut butter pretzel imperial stout. I like this a lot.
Yeah.
It's really a 4.5 out of 5 for me. It had a lot of balls to it. Really, really good.
4.5. A lot of chocolate, a lot of peanut butter, almost like a peanut butter cup.
Yes.
But 0 pretzel.
Yeah, it's like, I'm not feeling the pretzel for that. Yeah.
3 4.5s on that one. So it was, I don't know what else to say. That was easily the best beer of the night. JT, thank you for bringing those.
Thank you.
Those were
that was
really good
awesome.
beers. So
way better than the themes I ever came up with. Dear God.
Low bar to beat.
What?
The exciting quiz program 21.
Our final segment of the episode is Quiz Show.
I've stood on the shoulders of life, and I've never gotten down into the dirt to build.
Where in our research for our subject film, we find some interesting trivia nuggets that we hope will stump the other and possibly intrigue you.
This is not McCarthyism. We're not here to expose for the sake of exposure.
This is Quiz Show.
Well, evidently certain of the contestants were given the answers in advance.
Cheating on a quiz show. It's like plagiarizing a comic strip.
With Eastwood's Oscar win for Best Director, he holds the honor of being the oldest winner at age 74. What 2016 Best Director holds the honor for youngest at age 32?
2016?
Mm-hmm.
Was that Damien Chazelle?
It is.
Hey,
for La La Land.
All right.
Nice.
He was 32?
32.
Damn, G.
I know.
I'm 42. I'm doing shit
Exactly. He's a freaking out Oscar.
Good for you, dude.
Asshole. I mean, congrats. He should have won.
Yeah, well, yeah, absolutely. All right. I guess how many do you have, by the way?
I have 3 total.
You have 3 total? Okay. All right. Well, so Clint Eastwood was not originally tabbed to direct this film, but he was supposed to act in it. He asked to direct it. And the original director agreed to step aside as he was also directing another film at the time, or just around that time. What Oscar-winning director was slated to direct this film? And I'll give you a little hint in that it's a writer-director.
Paul Haggis.
That's correct!
I was like, he was doing Crash or whatever. Yes!
Yeah, they filmed Crash before this was done.
Really?
Yeah. This was filmed after Crash, and Crash won the Best Picture a year later.
Because I think Paul Haggis is like, I'm not going to win. I'm going to delay it a year to go up against the Gay Cowboy movie and make it work.
Well,
Spoiler.
Hollywood is not woke.
They're the worst. They're asleep. Nice. Sweet. I got that. All right.
You got one right.
In a small role, Michael Pena is in this movie as Omar.
Yes.
Which you don't see the name, but they say it online.
Sure.
He had actually worked with director Eastwood again in what 2018 drama? And I'll give you a clue on what the story is.
It's 6 years ago.
Yep. Spoiler, he plays an old dude. Eastwood does, even older.
Is this The Mule?
It is The Mule.
Hey,
nice.
Haven't seen it. All right.
No, I don't think I've seen any of Eastwood's after this, actually.
Come on, really?
After this?
All right. Gran Torino is really good.
Never
But,
seen it.
all right. You got to see Juror number 2, too. So.
Yeah, I'll get there.
Okay. All right. 2 for 2, baby.
Nice.
All right. So, speaking of Paul Haggis, though Paul Haggis would be known for following up this year with the second most shocking Best Picture prize of all time in Crash, You got to admit that this stretch, his stretch of films along this time is pretty great. He had $1 Million Baby, then into Crash, although Crash film first. Then in 2006, he had a hell of a year. He would be nominated for another writing Oscar and have 3 major films released that he wrote, 2 of which were directed by Eastwood. What 3 films, 2 war films and 1 action reboot, would he write?
Oh my God. 3
films in 1 year, and you've heard of them all.
Well,
I gave you a dead giveaway with the Eastwood part.
Letters to Iwo Jima.
Yep. That's the one he was nominated for.
Yep. Another Eastwood film. God.
Yeah.
Nerd.
Yeah.
What's the other one he did that year? Son of a mother. I can't see.
This is what spawned it. It was first.
Yes.
It was a book first. It's one of my favorite books of all time, actually.
The Flags of Our Fathers.
That is correct. Yes. Well done.
All right. 2 out of 3. I have no idea on the third one.
It's this series has 27 films in it.
Quantum of Solace.
Well, he wrote that later, but he actually wrote Casino Royale.
Oh, he did?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Bond.
In 06.
James
yeah,
Bond.
I'll give you the
James
Bond part of that one. Yeah. That's a solid year, though, man. Like,
that's really good.
Best
Wow.
Picture nominee, writing 2 Eastwood films and Casino Royale.
Well played.
And then he went nowhere.
And then he continued
Disappeared.
to suck. Anthony Mackie.
Correct.
Who we covered in 8 Mile previously, and who is Falcon in the MCU. Like this has a small role, like Michael Pena, also in the MCU. But he went on to star not just in this Best Picture winner, but in 2010.
Yes.
He would star with a different Avenger.
Oh my God, you're just getting there.
In what Best Picture winning film?
I've changed my mind on this movie, The Hurt Locker.
Hurt Locker.
I love this movie, and I've changed my mind that it actually deserved it over Avatar. Whether it's deserved or not, I thought they should have given it to Avatar all these years ago, but
yeah.
It's a solid film. It's really well done.
Good job.
Is that your last one?
That's my last one.
Cool. Well, I'm plugged in, so we got 2 more here, gentlemen. All right.
Take your time.
Well, I teased this to Tim in a text when I was doing research. I have one of my all-time favorite, like, just sort of weird fun facts coming up. But anyway, so Clint Eastwood, director of this film, was also nominated for Best Actor.
Yep.
And in the history of the Oscars, only 2 people have directed themselves to Oscar wins for acting.
Wins or nominations?
Wins. Plenty of nominations.
Oh,
only
God.
2 people have won an Oscar. And I will give you one hint that'll be a dead giveaway.
It's like 70.
And the other
years.
one, the other one will be a little bit tougher, but I think you've seen the film or you know it for sure. But you want the dead giveaway?
Are they both, actor?
Yeah.
Not
they
like
are
in
both
like
actors.
a 21st century, like, okay, actor.
Yep.
Director, best, no, I have no idea.
So I just teased one of them, which was the worst, or in the year of the worst Best Picture of all time decision.
What?
Who won Best Actor the year that Saving Private Ryan lost Best Picture? It's a movie that you and I don't like to talk about very much.
I mean, Shakespeare in Love.
Oh, no, who won Best Actor that year, Tim?
Oh, God, that's right.
There it is.
Roberto effing Benigni.
There you go.
God.
See the look on his face.
What a bastard. He can't. Oh, that's right. He directed that stupid fucking film. God.
The other one is, the other one.
I hate that movie.
The other one's
so
a
much.
Shakespeare adaptation, if you really want to.
Laurence Olivier.
That's right.
For Hamlet.
For Hamlet. There you go. Well done.
Yes.
Well done. All right, last one.
That felt good.
Last one. So deal with it, buddy.
That felt really good.
3 producers are listed as winners of the Best Picture Oscar in this film: Eastwood, Tom Rosenberg, and Albert S. Ruddy. Incredibly, Ruddy went 2 for 2 at the Oscars as a producer and took home his first Best Picture win over 30 years prior to this movie. For what 1972 all-time classic did Albert Ruddy win as the sole producer?
My Fair Lady.
That is horribly incorrect.
I don't know. Back in the, 72?
1972.
Yeah. Oh, The Godfather?
There you go.
There we go. Stupid effing movie. Yeah.
Whatever.
Sorry.
You gotta rewatch it soon.
That's when we can, rewatch.
Favorite fact.
Nice.
Care to guess which famous actor presented the 1972 Best Picture Award to Albert S. Ruddy?
Clint Eastwood.
That's correct.
Yay!
32 years apart.
I like
Eastwood
your
hands him
eyes,
an
like-
Oscar, and there you go.
You produce it. He's how come back.
There you go.
30 years later.
You want one more? You want one more?
Yeah.
You want a fun fact? This movie probably wouldn't have existed without Chuck Norris.
That's a plot twist right there. I had no idea.
Same year. Dodgeball, right?
Wow.
In a way, we owe this movie to Chuck Norris. In 1993, producer Albert Ruddy would agree to produce Walker, Texas Ranger, created by Paul Haggis.
Well done. You had some good
In
time
a
on your
way,
hands.
it's a circle, man. In a way. There you
Wow.
go.
That's really good.
So, all right. Well, that brings us to
saying
the end
you
of the
got more?
episode. I know.
And
I know. I know what are you going to do?
in 20...
Hey, next time, do your research, Tim.
No, I won't.
So that brings us to the end of the episode and the end of our films from 2004.
Nice.
Be sure to find all of our previous episodes on your favorite streaming platforms and watch out for the end of the year Oscars special and for a very different journey into the 2005 films.
Yes.
Teaser. Find us on the web via the metaverse of Facebook, Instagram, and Threads, and head to 20years4beers.com for more info. We want to say thank you for taking the time to listen and for clicking that like or subscribe button on your devices. This has been 20 Years 4 Beers. My name is Steve.
I'm Tim.
I'm Matt.
JT.
And thanks for listening.
And I'm spent.
And scene.
A roller coaster of emotions.
You're welcome, Tim.
God. Just fuck you, man. Way better than the themes I ever came up with. Dear God.
Low bar to beat.
What?
Well done.
Yes.
Well done.